Sidekicks is brought to you by Pace Setter Soccer Club. Soccer excellence since 1980.
Welcome to Sidekicks. We are on the road for this edition of Sidekicks as we are at Pace Setter Park to talk a little Friday night of football. I'm Mark Kunz, joined by Chris Black and Danny Fisher. And gentlemen, several years ago now, the OHSAA came up with this idea of the last Friday before high school football begins. Let's have soccer games on that Friday night, allow the soccer teams to have the stage. And once again this year, we're finally able to say we can have soccer in the state of Ohio. And this Friday night, we're going to have some great soccer games to open up the year.
Yeah, I tell you what, they cut it pretty close, though, getting down this close to, is there going to be lights turned on or just leave them off for the weekend? But it's pretty exciting. Some great big games coming out right out of the gate for this season.
Danny, let's talk about the two games out at Perrysburg. You'll be able to see both of those games on BCSN. As we'll start with the boys' side, St. Francis taking on Perrysburg. It's been a nice little tradition the last couple of years for those two teams to meet on this Friday night. We've had some great matchups between those two teams.
I think last Friday, the first sort of, I spoke to Coach Stevens last week, and the first 30 seconds of that game and, to 3 minutes kind of dictated the season and how things were going. And it was all, there was a lot of tackles flying in, some good soccer going on. I think St. Francis are up for some sort of revenge against Perrysburg. They want to win that game. They saw what happened, last year. That's in the back of their minds going into it. Where they have to be careful is they can't let that control them. They've got to go out and play. It's going to be a good game. It's a tough one to call. Lots of good players on show, but exciting for them to be out there and playing, and their first game of the season.
Chris, that'll be the 8 o'clock game. Before that game, the ladies will play as Notre Dame will take on Perrysburg.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty exciting one, too, for a lot of reasons. So many coaches figuring out what do they have coming back. And Notre Dame's had Katie Wisniewski in the net for probably at least 12 years now, so they're going to have to move on from her as she moves on the plane in college. That's a big question mark for Notre Dame, but, we all know Chippy's been putting his work in, and, Jorge Diaz on the Perrysburg side. That's two of the guys that have been around the longest. Perrysburg ended their season really well last year, did really well in the playoffs too for them. So, that's going to be a great bellwether test for both programs early.
Staying on the girls' side, Clay, a team that's had a lot of success over the years. They graduated quite a few players from last year's team. They will open up on Friday against Medina.
Yeah, people know that, goalkeepers is kind of part of my thing. Kenny Slovak, again, Clay, she's gone. What do they do now? A great goalkeeper, so it's be interesting to lose her. Riley Clark. But, I keep talking about what they're losing, but they do have plenty coming back. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do, because Medina, they just reload every single year. So that's going to be an early test. You almost want them early anyways, hoping, all right, maybe they haven't figured things out yet, because Medina's deep. But now's the first time we get to see them earliest ever, I think, in the season in Northwest Ohio. So it's exciting to get a team like Medina to come here.
And Danny, Northview will be home for a doubleheader on Friday night as well. On the boys' side, Ashton comes in to take on Northview. This is a Wildcats team that we've got some question marks about going into this year.
Yeah, I think Coach Brazel's going to have them. He's going to have them organised. They're going to have a work ethic about him. You see the way he coaches. Everything's about hard work. They returned some good players. Joe and Michael others last year had a really good season. From talking to Coach Brazel, he's on fire in training right now. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to Malik Cesar as well, playing as well. And Tussin at the back as well is a big part for Northview as well. So I think they'll be good again this year. I think he'll have them organised, and I see them going pretty deep again this year.
Chris, the Lady Cats are also home Friday night. They will take on St. Ursula. This is on paper a really interesting matchup.
Yeah, it really is, and you look at, still starting the back again. St. Ursula graduates Lindsey Smith, and she's off to Memphis to play. That's a big loss for a goalkeeper for them, but they have a lot of youth in place. Amelia Creech comes back senior year, so she's got them in the right place as far as a solid goalkeeper in there that's been around. But, St. Ursula lost a lot last year. Probably they're a little deeper, so they could absorb that loss a little bit. But, Sylvania Northview against St. Ursula, always a tough game. They've, except for, last year in playoffs, I think St. Ursula ran away with it a little bit. But always a tough game, year in, year out. The interesting thing, Mark Delverne, St. John's grad, coaching Sylvania Northview. Scott Reed, Sylvania Southview grad, coaching St. Ursula. I think that's just kind of funny anyways how that works out. But that should be a great game, always is. This early in the season, that's fun to get them under the lights.
And finally, sticking in Sylvania on the boys' side, Southview will be home taking on St. John's. So once again, two traditional powers going head-to-head that first Friday night of the soccer season.
Yeah, good. St. John's, they've got some really good younger players in there. And then you got your Danny Saleem's in there as well. Young players, you've got like a Jacob Rashid, Adrian Ligel in there as well. All solid and exciting players. Southview as well. Zapersky's in there, Jack Zapersky's in there, very solid players as well. Isaiah Moore's, very exciting players, good on the ball. On the grass, Southview have had the advantage maybe of training on the grass all summer. St John's on the turf. That could be a difference, depending on what happens with the weather over the next couple of days as well. But an exciting game to look forward to.
Chris, your thoughts on that matchup?
Hey, St. John's lost so much. We talk about what's coming back, though. Again, a deep program that can bring back a lot. So I'm a little partial. I am helping St. John's again this year a little bit. Ben Denecki back for his senior year in the goal. And you don't replace Joey Akbenunu, obviously. We all know that. It's who else steps in, how is the change different. Expect a much more even attack from St. John's this year. And they did lose a lot of great players, but much wider attack, I think. More things could happen. I agree. The grass is so helpful if you're used to playing on that. It's almost like the anti-field turf advantage. So that's huge for Sylvania Southview, and it'll be interesting to see what they really have out there this year. I think it's a program we've known for a long time. Coach Cafel's been there for a long time, so I'm sure they've circled this in their calendar. They've been ready to go, and they just got they might have it crossed out a little while ago. They got to circle it again. They're ready to go Friday.
Everybody's got the date circled. Don't forget, you can join us Sunday night for Sports Night. We'll have much more on the high school soccer seasons coming up. And then on Friday, we'll have those two games from Perrysburg, the Notre Dame girls against the Lady Yellow Jackets, as well as St. Francis against Perrysburg. You can see those games right here on BCSN. Until next time, we'll see you for Sidekicks.
Sidekicks is brought to you by Pacesetter Soccer Club. Soccer excellence since 1980.